Hi there! My name is Nova. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I wanted to go through my digital sketchbook and share my thoughts and fun facts with you. Getting right into it, this first one is a self-portrait from the year 2021. This took me approximately 4 hours and was the first one I did on IBIS Paint X on my phone using my finger. I knew how layers worked from my experience with design programs like Photoshop and InDesign. Notice the line quality is shaky and the shading is a black color, just the opacity turned down. This is my second ever Star Wars original character. Her name is Ren. I thought Ren was so cool. I played her in an Edge of the Empire roleplay game. If you want to learn more about Ren and my other Star Wars characters, watch for a video coming out where I share my characters and their backgrounds for Art Fight 2026. This is Daisy. I learned how to apply patterns on this piece. Using that, I of course drew Ren again. Her designs changed a little, but this old piece is still one of my favorites to date. Going from Ren to Now Now. She is my first ever Star Wars TTRPG character. Her design gets a major overhaul in the future, but I keep the red stripes because those look cool. Let's say hello to Selra's first design. Selra is, you guessed it, my third Star Wars OC. In this piece, you can see me experimenting with colored line art. Ren pops up again, this time as a chibi. Next, we have a color palette challenge. I used the 5 colors there as inspiration to design a character. I had little hearts in the design. This alien character is where I think I was beginning to find my style. It's a lineless piece and has a lot of texture, 2 things I usually don't do, but the face and theming are a pattern that'll keep coming back. Fun fact, I tried making this piece resemble paper art, where you cut each shape and layer it on top of each other. I've done that technique a few times and I really enjoy it. Let's get back to a color palette challenge. I used 6 colors and paper texture to create this mostly lineless steampunk sweetie. Her hair buns have cogs around them, but they're a similar shape I use later in the future. And that's the point where my art changes, because I found the Dream SMP. So first up we got Snowchester Tubbo. I'm actually still really proud of how I did the fur texture in the coat. My first ever Rambu drawing. This one's rough, and I turned the crown into stars for some reason. It's a clutter design, but doggone it, did I think it was cool at the time. This funky Rambu was actually a big deal for me. I tried perspective for once, but it also got reposted by the Rambu fan art account. I had never had so much attention on my art before, and from what I remember, everyone was actually really nice about it. This was inspired by a color palette challenge. Oh, who could this be? You're right, Origins SMP Rambu. This is the longest I have spent on a piece to date. It took me 21 hours. I was inspired by those Alphonse Mucha pieces. It's another Rambu, this time a steampunk version. I love this one. I put so many details in this particular piece. I was cooking. You can see an ender eye inset in the shoulder of the prosthetic arm. The robotics for the arm should hopefully make logical sense. And the sleeve for the missing arm is actually tied up behind the back. Let's take a break from Minecraft creators and bring you an old Get to Know Me art. Likes, space, red pandas, Star Wars, all very true. Fun fact, that's an actual sweater I still have in real life. This was made in a time where I had shorter red dyed hair. The fun facts I have listed are that I'm bilingual, I do comics, and I like baking. I am Hispanic and I do speak Spanish along with English. I've been writing and illustrating comics since 2016, and I just really love baking. I bake a mean apple pie. Neva is next. Neva was a character made for an SMP where everyone was a creature with powers. My creature was a snowman that could throw snowballs at any time and leave a trail of snow behind. So I came up with this character called Neva, from nevando, which means snowing in Spanish. Neva would go on to be my persona, or a character that represents me, so you'll see a couple more pieces about her. We're back to creators! This is Rambu again, but this time, instead of any SMP, this was made in the days before Generation Lost was debuted. All we knew was that there were tapes. I think there was mentioned something about a tape being buried in the woods, and this is what inspired me, but I could just be misremembering. I just wanted to draw something cutesy and cottagey, so here's Rambu again. I think the colors worked well together in this one. Rounding out the trio, I have Tommy and Friend from the DSMP. Pretty sure this was the arc where Tommy was isolated and kept getting harassed by Dream. I really like this one for its storytelling. I used a lot of hatching to add texture. You can see the bottom of Tommy's pants are discolored from walking in the ocean and mud. I forgot what the hat was supposed to be, a raccoon I think. And then the blue sweater was from Friend's wool. Friend is the name of the sheep for anyone who doesn't know. MCC20 was not one I even remember, but I wanted to make art for it, because Rambu was on the same team as Filza and Captain Sparkles. I grew up watching Captain Sparkles, and the My Night series was a big inspiration for what I'm trying to do now. And then seeing my old favorite Minecrafter with my new favorite Minecrafter was like mind-blowing for me. This piece also got reposted and got like 700 likes, which was phenomenal. Neva reemerges! I wanted to show her off with her ice sword. This specific piece was actually a DTIYS, draw this in your style, that no one participated in, but I like it nonetheless. And we're back to Generation Lost Rambu. This one was inspired by the tapes again, but like tape coming out of the body is like a scary aspect. Back when the symbol was the one on the dog tag. I actually love this piece. I feel there's a bit of perspective, different angles, the rendering is cool, I added texture, and you can see the box head on the top right, back when no one knew what it meant. Now looking back, it's like, I love foreshadowing. This next piece is very special to me. It doesn't have a name, but it's the start of the Ianova project. The Ianova project was a multi-artist project based on a single prompt voted on by the artists. Say for example, it's you and me as the artists. I say let's draw monochrome. You say let's draw cherry blossoms. We take a vote and whoever wins, let's say cherry blossoms, every artist would create a piece based on the same prompt. The prompt for this piece was Moss Futurism. The route I took was a sci-fi cybernetic warrior overrun by nature. Back to Rambu fan art. As you can tell, Rambu was my favorite. This one was a DTIYS I participated in. I can't find the original, but I love how this one turned out. Ianova project time. This prompt was Void Web. I took it as a space being who was taking the stars and weaving them into constellations. I think I could have done better with this one. I like the concept, but Remember Tubbo? This is another piece of Tubbo when the whole battle was going on, where there was an obsidian grid in the sky over L'Manberg. I think Tubbo was president and had a broken arm somehow, at least from what I was conveying. Things are really hazy from that time in my life. From now on, there will be more original character designs. This one is a steampunk character designed for the Ianova project in 2022. Her name is Emmeline Cogsworth, and she makes little mechanical animals. Next is the only piece I made of Origins Nikki. It was also a color palette challenge. I was experimenting with gradient colored lines and line width. Just don't look at her arm too hard, and it looks fine. Did you miss my Star Wars OCs? I know I have. Please meet Orion, or her real name, Robin. I changed her design a lot, but the important part is that she has an arm prosthetic, and she's heavily armored. This one was actually a commission for an artist friend. I really like the perspective on this. And the space hair finally appears. This is Io. She has swirling gaseous space hair. Her outfit was experimental in its textures. Her eyes were supposed to be reminiscent of black holes. Oh, Rambu's back. This time as another DTIYS participant artwork. I believe this one was a DTIYS by Raichu. Shout out Raichu. I tried adding movement using the tie and went through the hair. I don't think this one was very successful. Winter Fallout was the theme of this Ianova project. I guess she lives somewhere warm? Yeah, it didn't do right by the prompt, but I do really like the piece. Her colors and the way I rendered the face are things I try to replicate. I named her Zero. Time for another self-portrait. This time short redhead edition. I don't have that sweater. For cottagecore, I drew this like Fairy lady? She seems like she'd be fun to have tea with. No name for her. Robin's first big change. I made her design a lot more like Ren's, because they're sisters. I like her arm blaster, but she needed to be more armored, and more of her own person than just Ren's older sister. I fixed this later. It's my turn to host a DTIYS. Of course, it's a Generation Lost version. There were great entries for this one. I was so happy and proud. You are all fantastic artists. A portrait of Neva. I love how I used the benday dots and halftones. Her sharp yellow eyes look stark against her purple skin. This one's a rough one. I do not like it. It was an Eonova project that the prompt was soda pop inspired. I did cherry cola because that's my favorite pop. The hair was supposed to be liquid soda, but it doesn't read that way at all. Without knowing the prompt, you wouldn't know what I was going for. Yeah, I do not like this one. I couldn't get enough of the last DTIYS I did, so I hosted another one. This time it was Technoblade. This was after he passed, I believe. I used my humanoid Technoblade design. I believe I drew my beast techno design at some point, so you are also gonna see that. This is one of my favorite commissions. The task was to draw this client's portrait. We worked back and forth to adjust it, and this is how it turned out. I really like how I did the hair. Another commission. I really think I captured the expression of the client. This is some fan art of Bee from Bee and Puppy Cat, the moment where we find out that she's a robot. I actually have cosplayed this moment before. It was awesome actually seeing other fans of the show and showing off my little puppy cat plushie. This piece is inspired by the horse mane Nebula. I made the Nebula her hair. I'll be doing that a lot in the future too. My good girl Leia. She's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. Right now she's 3 years old. Loon, the moon. I added several moon shapes in her design and kept the colors cool. Her eyes are gold to match with Sol, the sun. Her necklace is actually the solar system. Her eyes are blue to match with Loon. Remember the first color palette challenge I did? Here's the remaster. I kept the hearts and the colors, but my art style has evolved. My next self-portrait. My hair was still red, but a lot longer. I really tried to capture my hazel eyes. Neva makes a reappearance. I tried drawing her again, this time with longer hair. I'm proud of the way I rendered this one, with the shadow and everything. Say hello to Candy Williamson. I love this piece. But I don't think too many people share my enthusiasm. I don't know why. Candy is a fashion student and she loves dressing with hearts. I hosted my most recent DTIYS for May 2026 using Candy. Those pieces and the winners will be announced on my Instagram, or if you stick around to the end of this video. The Void. This is the first piece that inspired my lore story for the Minecraft series. Don't know if the Void will show up as a humanoid character, but that would be cool. No spoilers though. A return to Star Wars. This time, fan art of Padme Amidala. This is my favorite outfit of hers, and I tried to get all the details down. What I don't like is the background. I didn't know what to do, and I struggle with backgrounds, so I just did some roses. It doesn't make sense, and it looks so different from my style. I really wish it could have been better. Nebula is actually an art trade I did with my friend. I loved the colors, and originally Nebula is an animal, so I added animal ears. My favorite part was the chunky shoes and the texture of the jeans. Shout out friend. It's Miku, a steampunk Miku design. Why does she have gear wings? Who knows, but it's awesome. And for all of those who are waiting for a Frankenstein the Musical animatic, I will show you a sneak preview of the monster's design and in color. I like the textures I used and the way I rendered the cloth. Now we have a sneak peek behind the scenes. This was actually the first rendition of Nova. I wanted the space hair in the back. You can see the space buns forming. I did like this outfit, but it's not very knight-like. And here's the first Nova. Most everything's the same except the skirt in this edition. This next one is inspired by Monet's water lilies. I had a video plan that was characters inspired by classic paintings, so I had things like the scream and turned them into a character design. But I wasn't satisfied with all the designs and my art, so I scrapped the video. But I still like this design. If you think I called her Lily, you'd be right. As promised, this is my other Technoblade design. It's based on a sculpture that I made. The sculpture is 10 inches tall, and I'd do a photo shoot with it, but it actually broke. There's the subscriber bell on his belt as a nice detail. Nova is getting a personality. It's not my best work, but the character is coming into her own. Oh my goodness, it's the Scream girl from the scrap video. I used the colors of the painting for her design. Yet another commission. This is for my wonderful friend, Saray. Shout out Saray! I really like how the eyes turned out. This version of Nova is what I use for profile pictures on different platforms. I think I did really well on this piece. The colors are off from Nova's official design, but I don't mind. The client for this commission asked me to make a character mascot for her blog. Something classic alien with textured hair using specific colors and a specific outfit. That's how this character was born. This is a chibi version of the final character. For this piece, I used an Aurora Borealis framing the head like a crown. I come back to this design idea for Aster. Scrap video número 2. I used the same base to make different character designs. This first one is really colorful and has stripes and stars. The second one, if I remember right, is a flower fairy that's of a deadly poisonous type. She has skulls in her wings. I tried to practice lighting in this piece. The light source is this star she's holding. Everything else has some sort of shading. I love this piece of Nova. These colors will become the official colors of her hair. Fun fact, this is the first time I drew her with jewelry or any shooting stars. We've seen the monster, so now may I introduce the creator, Victor Frankenstein. This version is of him in his lab. This character is a throwback to the comic I was making back in 2016, 2018? Her name is Vienna. She's the first space girl I ever drew. She was tiny, her skin was pink, and her hair was space. She was also incarcerated for many crimes. Shout out to my co-author, Mars! Robin comes back. Her armor skirt isn't working. The blue isn't working. The prosthetic looks like a doll arm. Let's keep moving. These next two are from an experiment I tried to do. I tried to open commissions with a base. I didn't get any takers, but I did have people who let me use their characters try it out. Shout out to Saturn Slays and Paradise Rainer. Maddie was a character I had back in 2017 who I loved. That comic kinda died off as soon as me and my co-author had to part, but all those characters are super dear to me. Do you remember Ren? Here she is back. Actually, I can't tell if this is Ren or Robin with her helmet off. A commission for Friend! Mentioned earlier, shout out Friend again. I had lots of fun rendering this character and painting the hair and makeup. The beadwork is so intricate and a great addition to the character design. This is the main character of the comic Maddie was in. His name is Sakuma Katsu. He has a black cat named Angel, which is what the background is referencing. Instead of using straight white, I used a pink as the highlight on the gray hair, and I think it gives the piece a really neat look. La próxima arte se llama Mi Isla. This art piece is called Mi Isla. What inspired me for this character design is the salsa dancers of Puerto Rico. I personally love salsa, but merengue is my favorite to dance. I wanted to celebrate my heritage. This character design is based heavily on what my mom looks like. The flower in her hair is the Flor de Maga, which is Puerto Rico's national flower. And we're back with a color design palette challenge. This time, the colors inspired me to go on an ice cream route. She has a waffle cone corset and chocolate drizzle with sprinkles in key places. I gave her a gap tooth because I think it makes her look cuter. Alright, if you're in the Star Wars campaign I'm GMing, you should skip these next 3. Okay? Got it? Good. I'm watching you, Ethan. I have a Star Wars Edge of the Empire campaign that I'm the game master. So I come up with the story and world and let the players loose in it. The world I came up with is called Botflora, like botanical and floral. It's a jungle planet where everyone's basically a talking flower, or a mushroom, or some type of vegetation. Here we have Queen Perennia, from Perennial. I made the stems of the flower into a corset for her, so it looks like her petals form a billowing dress. The flower itself wraps tightly around her head. The next character is the High Advisor Cyrus, which comes from Iris. The petals form his hair, and the leaves braid together to make a royal sash thingy. I personally like his big sleeves, they seem fun. And finally, we have the big bad of the campaign. It's a big rose monster. The roots and thorns have scooped up and entangled themselves in the mud, creating this monster with a giant thorny claw. The trick is the monster is the rose, not the mud. Okay, are we all back? Ethan? Okay, good. Now we have the first ever version of Celeste. Celeste, if you don't know, makes up the trio of knights that are part of this channel's lore. This is her original design, which is nice, but not what I was looking for with her quieter, tougher characterization. Could it be a 2-character spread? This hasn't happened yet, I don't think. It only took me until 2026 to make it. I was testing out the armor and outfits for the knights. I put them in skirts and I did not like it. The rendering is great, but the design itself, especially on Nova, is unnecessarily busy. Celeste got a redesign too, going from beads to having the braid end in the symbol of the universe, which is what I'm calling that star shape. Now I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you my design process. This was also from another scrap video where I turned desserts into cute gals. I wanted to do apple pie, so I did a lot of research and made an apple pie and ate it for research purposes. I wanted this apple pie character, Lottie, to be really cute. I chose the name because Lottie is the name of a specific apple. So first you can see I got the shapes I wanted down in monochrome. I then went through and tried it with the red classic apple colorway. I then tried it with a green apple colorway. Which one do you like better? Because I went with the green one. I gave Lottie little apple slice earrings and a lattice crust over skirt. Her little beret has a leaf on it. I wanted her to look like Apple's biggest fan. I think I made that happen. I got into practicing chibis. This one is a self-portrait. Last time you saw me, my hair was red, but now it's dyed half brown and the inside half blonde. I really like this style. Fun fact, I actually put this chibi on a business card when I was traveling to help new people stay in contact with me. I also do have those smiley face jeans. Celeste is back with a haircut of her own. This is when art block hit me. It took me over a month for me to finish this one. I still don't like her hair, but I did like the braid idea with the universe symbol at the end. Nova graces us once again. I wanted to design her weapon, so of course I only drew half of it. The dress she's wearing is actually canon and is called her ceremonial dress. It's a ceremonial morning dress. I didn't want to make her morning dress black because that seems like a very earthly concept, and she's an alien. Maybe I'll mess around with it, who knows. One of my favorite trios is here. Eric, Christine, and Raoul from Phantom of the Opera. Don't look at Raoul, something's wrong with him. But I think I got Christine correct. She's wearing a simplified version of the Think of Me dress. And then we have Eric, the Phantom himself. I tried making his face disfigured enough, but I still gave him all of his hair. I think there's a happy medium somewhere, but I don't know if I found it. Might revisit Phantom as fan art. Maybe as an animatic? I'm still trying to decide. My newest Draw This in Your Style. I had 2 rules. Keep the same character, Candy, and make it look like a magazine. I had 2 entries, and both were strong in their own points. For keeping Candy and her design, I think Athena Ruby Blade's entry was strong. The colors and rendering is gorgeous, and I love how she kept her hair in the braids. As for making it look like a magazine, Milka had a great run of it. This looks like something I'd definitely pick up in a store. At first I had a first and second place with customized prizes, but I'm gonna forego that and give them both a free commission slot of anything half body or lower. Athena, Milka, DM me and we can get it going. Also, shout out to Athena and Milka. Speaking of drawing for you, I did a challenge where I redrew my mutual's characters. These are them. I can't choose which one was my favorite. Zero is back. I tried to design her full outfit, but I don't like it. Something's wrong with the pose or the face or both. This next one I'm really proud of. I put together all of my Star Wars characters on one canvas. You've met the sisters, Ren and Robin. You've met Selva. You've even met Now Now. But who you haven't met yet are these 2, Osa and May. Osa's the one on the left with the cane. She's a detective and con artist. And May, the one in the middle, she's a Davronian rebel with nothing to lose. except her leg. Yeah, she did lose her leg. But she has a prosthetic now, so she's okay and ready to kick more butt. Selra is here again as a portrait in front of Ambion, the planet she's stranded on. I gave Selra no pupils, and I can't remember why. I'm actually really proud of this one. You see, I draw about 90% of all of these in my notebook first, snap a picture, then trace over them in my drawing app. But I did this one all freestyle. I pushed May's expression and had a different method of rendering. It feels very pop art. It's finally time for my good boy, Aster. Aster is the third one in the trio of knights alongside Celeste and Nova. This was just me trying to figure out his design. I gave him an aurora borealis along his head, like the wreaths in the ancient Romans depictions. That was inspired by the old drawing of the guy with the aurora around his head. I also like his teeth. I gave Nova perfect teeth, Celeste has a chip in her tooth, and Aster has these kind of dorky fangs. Ooh, wonder what time it is. Chibi time! I found out how to draw chibis and spent 9 hours making tons of chibis. The first one I made was of course Nova. I really like her design as a chibi. All the shapes look so cute. This is also her final design. She has guarded armor for her hips, but not a skirt. Her right gauntlet is golden. This is an identifier for a Knight of the Universe. Next is Captain Aster. I gave him a half cape. His outer edge is a greenish color from the glow of his aurora. I decided that he's going to slightly glow wherever he is. Lastly, for the trio, we have Celeste's final design. I went with a long braid and golden eyeshadow. I love how she turned out. Another chibi I made was for my friend Starry Psyche. Shout out Starry Psyche. She has a little character called Rune, and I love him so much, I chibified him. Lastly, some group shots for the chibis. Nova, Celeste, and Aster, the Knights of the Universe. And Now, Ren, Selra, Osa, Robin, and May, my Star Wars girlies. Again, if you want to know more about them in detail, and some of my other OCs, look out for my art fight video soon. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about my sketchbook. I'm thinking of making one yearly so I can track my progress. Those ones won't be quite as long. Let's look at the coming soon schedule. Next to come out will be the Hands of Time animatic for Frankenstein the Musical. Little update on that. I finished storyboarding and now I'm finalizing the art for each frame. After that, for anyone who liked our Minecraft series, we have episode 2 on its way. My VTuber debut, which will be on Wednesday, July 1st. But Nova, haven't we already seen your VTuber? Aren't I looking at her right now? The answer is yes. But in the debut, you will learn more about the person behind Nova, Nova as a character, and more lore in the channel that you won't find in the Minecraft videos or anywhere else. But it will tie into the Minecraft videos and other videos eventually. After Nova's debut, I will be setting up an animatics tutorial. This video will cover the basics and go into character design, storyboarding, editing, exporting, and uploading your own animatic. I'll be making an animatic alongside for the video, so you can see the actual real-life process and follow along with your own animatic. At that point, I think I should have passed the 250 sub mark, so I'll be having my 250 sub special. What is that, you ask? I'm going to be drawing your OCs. More details on that later. Lastly, I want to make an animatic to Control by Jack Stauber. I just really like that song, and I think it would be a cool OC animatic. That's about it. If you like this video, you know what fun buttons to press, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!